So I wanted to talk some Money in the Bank. I wanted to talk, cash-ins and stuff like that. But rather than doing a list, I'm going to give you my opinion on what I think is the best cash-in and probably the most underrated cash-in of all time right now. Hello and welcome to FCTR. I am Hugh McQuaid, and today we are talking about my favourite Money in the Bank cash-in of all time, bar none. Let's dive into that, but before we do, please hit subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below. What is your favourite Money in the Bank cash-in of all time? Let me know, and I'll try and apply it to every single one of you as we dive into Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank, one of the greatest match stipulations in the history of professional wrestling, where the winner gets a contract that gives them a match, a championship match, at any time. It can be right after someone's had a match, it can be before someone's ready. Adds for a lot of good story intrigue and a lot of good angles and surprises. There have been a lot. There have been a lot of cash-ins. Some good, like Seth. Some bad, like Corbin. Some okay, like Randy Orton. That was the first one that came into my head when I thought of okay. But there have been some great moments, some really, really colossal, monumental events that have happened with the Money in the Bank contract. So before I dive into this, I'm going to run through some that I think are okay. And there's a big, a big segment, aka the women's Money in the Bank, that I think has not been treated very well at all, because every single one, bar Carmella, has cashed in on the same night. So it's pretty much been a rinse and repeat thing for the women's Money in the Bank. I think it's not ideal. I'd like to see them, hold on to it to a little bit longer. But for some reason, I think WWE feel they need to do that. If they've got two Money in the Banks, they don't really know what to do. So they have to have one cash in on one night, because they can't think of two cohesive stories and run two Money in the Bank stories at a time. I think that is preposterous, and they could probably do that. But let's talk about some of my favourite cash-ins. So some of my favourite cash-ins, obviously you've got Dolph Ziggler, the raucous reaction that he got when he cashed in on Alberto Del Rio. And I really liked, the play on he might fail. When Alberto Del Rio hits the enziguri, locks him in the armbar, and, it adds that little bit of fear. It's not a straight squash, pretty much like the Kane was in 2009. So I really enjoyed that cash-in. Obviously, Seth Rollins is a lot of people's favourite cashing in at WrestleMania in the triple threat between Brock and Roman. Well, he made it a triple threat and he won. Again, I think there's a lot of interplay there, a lot of good exchange between the characters. Roman hitting Brock with the spear when Seth was nearly hit by an F5, so Roman ultimately potentially causes his own demise in that regard. So there's a lot to play on there. Other ones, I really love Rob Van Dam's, first one to pick his spot. I want Cena at One Night Stand. Love that. I think that's really, really fun. Edge, of course, the original, and doesn't really get better than Edge, but it does. It does for me anyway. This is my personal favourite Money in the Bank cash in. And I'm going to take you all the way back. Who's ready for story time with you and McQuaid, baby? All the way back to Extreme Rules 2009, when you had an incredibly popular babyface in Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy gunning for the World Heavyweight Championship. He's in a ladder match against Edge. It's a brutal, one of the best ladder matches that I can remember. And he wins. He wins the World Heavyweight Championship from Edge in a grueling ladder match. His leg is beaten, but who cashes in but CM Punk? And I think what really makes this the best Money in the Bank cash-in for me is not only the surprise of Punk cashing in, it's also, it takes two to tango. Let's be honest, it takes two to tango in a Money in the Bank cash-in. You have the person cashing in, and then you have the defending champion. And I think what goes, underlooked or underseen with this particular cash-in is Jeff's reaction and Jeff's selling, because you have just shock, sadness, and a little bit of fire in the look of Jeff Hardy's. He's just laying on the ropes and can barely stand as CM Punk comes down. Punk hands the briefcase over and he cashes in. He cashes in his shot. hits a go to sleep. Everyone thinks that's the end, but Jeff Hardy kicks out of the go to sleep, which I think is an incredible spot. I think it's an incredible hope spot, followed by a roll up to Punk, and you can just see Punk getting even more pissed off. And then he hits a go to sleep. 1, 2, 3. Punk is the new World Heavyweight Champion. This one sticks in my head for eternity. I got chills thinking about it. This just hit me the right way when I saw it for the first time, because it's the only sort of Money in the Bank cash in I can remember that took something away that was truly wanted, because everyone loved Jeff Hardy. He hadn't won the World Heavyweight Championship. He just wins the World Heavyweight Championship and then it's taken away like that. That is what stands out to me the most. I can't think of like a heel cashing in that really took away from a babyface that we're all into. You know what I mean? I think the only one I can think of is Randy Orton cashing in on Daniel Bryan. That furthered the authority storyline, but this was truly, truly heartbreaking, and added a lot of drama to WWE at the time, and that's why it's my favourite cash-in. In the pantheon of Money in the Bank cash-ins, this is the one that always, stands out to me. I loved Punk at this time, I loved Hardy at this time, I loved WWE in 2009 for all its flaws, because that's what I grew up on, and yeah, I think this is the best cash-in of all time. Come at me, bro. But I want to know what you guys think. What is your favourite Money in the Bank cash-in? It can be anything. Let's get the Money in the Bank talk going on this channel as we build to London in a couple of weeks. Let me know everything you want about Money in the Bank down in the comments below, and I'll try to reply to every single one of you. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.